Good evening, I'm Kelly Phillips. More on those stories in just a minute. First, though, the first day of testimony has ended in the trial of the courthouse shooting suspect. Attorneys delivered opening statements, called witnesses, and presented evidence today in the capital murder trial of 42-year-old Bartholomew Granger. Investigators say Granger opened fire March 14th of last year outside the Jefferson County Courthouse. Prosecutors believe the shooting stemmed from a trial in which Granger was facing charges of aggravated sexual assault. While on a break from that trial, investigators say he got into his truck, drove in front of the courthouse, and opened fire. He's accused of shooting several people, including his ex-wife and daughter. They were witnesses in the assault trial. Investigators say he also ran over his daughter. 79-year-old Minnie Sebolt died outside the door to the courthouse. Prosecutors say she was killed in Granger's effort to murder his family. Judge Bob Wortham is presiding over the murder trial. He moved it to Galveston because the Jefferson County Courthouse was a crime scene. KFDM reporter Megan Dillard is covering the trial. She joins us live from Galveston with more. Megan?
Well, there were many people from Jefferson County here in Galveston County for today's trial. Many of those were actually public officials. Bartholomew Granger was in court this morning. He remained calm and quiet. The only thing that he said was his plea that he entered this morning, not guilty, Your Honor. This morning, the jury heard opening statements from the defense. The prosecutor explained the crime was well thought out. He also called March 14th, 2012, a day we at the courthouse will never forget. The defense attorneys did not give an opening statement. The jury heard from several witnesses, including Judge John Stevens, who was presiding over Granger's aggravated sexual assault trial last March. The Beaumont chief of police also testified. Jimmy Singletary explained he heard shots and ran from the police station all the way to the building where law enforcement arrested Granger, RCI, a construction company several blocks away. Today's witnesses also included state troopers, a legal assistant, and investigators. Evidence was a key part of today's proceedings, including a panoramic photograph captured by a computer program. Jurors also saw other photos and watched video from cameras outside the courthouse. One clip showed the victim, Minnie Sebolt, as she was walking into the courthouse. She turned as though she heard something, then hit the floor as she slid down the front door and grabbed the door handle. Now, Minnie Sebolt's daughter, Deborah Holst, was in court today. She tightly grabbed a package of tissue as she cried while she watched the video of her mother at the front door of the courthouse. What she's done is channeled the pain that she's feeling into strong words against her mother's attacker.
You are a piece of crap. You couldn't hold a candle to any part of her, and I hope that they give you the needle, and I hope it's soon.
A strong statement from a woman dealing with a daily pain that hasn't eased in the 1 year since she lost her mother.
It was horrendous seeing my mother be that vital and all of a sudden struck down, you know, like turn off a light switch.
Deborah Holst says not one moment passes without a memory of her mother, Minnie Sebolt. Her bright smile, that head full of white hair, her energetic presence.
She was 79 years old and she acted like she was 30. She did everything. In November, she was bungee jumping. In June, we were going whitewater rafting.
Holst quietly sat through witness testimony and evidence presentation today.
That was really tough. Normally, I would have cried out loud, but I kept it all together and tried not to show too much emotion.
Trying to keep calm and focus on what was said in the courtroom, especially by those trying to put the man she says killed her mother behind bars.
I think they made adequate points, you know, to show that what all he did and the reason behind what he did.
She doesn't mind staying in another county for the trial.
At first I thought, why? You know, because it would have been such an impact, I think, on the jury to have to cross through that every day. But then I turn around and look and see that me or my children would have to cross that same site.
Family she wishes she could spare from the pain. Grandchildren who still ask questions.
They asked me, why are you driving Mama Minnie's car? I said, well, now, honey, it's Mama Debbie's car. But why? I said, well, she's in heaven.
An explanation for little ears to explain what she calls a tremendous loss. Day one in court behind her, Deborah Holst says she'll be back here every day until she hears the verdict she's hoping for.
I don't think he should be in the pen for 10, 20 years. I know there's a process that he has to go through. But if I had my choice, he'd be found guilty and gave him the death penalty, and next week they'd give him the needle.
Now, one thing that Deborah Holst carried with her in court today, the purse that her mother was holding the day that she was shot. Deborah now carries that purse as her own. We're reporting live in Galveston. Megan Dillard, KFDM 6 News.
And you can go to our KFDM News Facebook page to read some of the many comments about the trial, and stay with KFDM and KFDM.com for continuing coverage of the Granger trial in Galveston.